how in good conscience you can, as an American, stand up and support someone like Hugo Chavez. I think he owes the country an apology, and he should take down those ads.
Well, Republican Congressman Connie Mack on this show yesterday, the man at the center of the controversy with us today. At issue, these ads that tout cheap oil from Venezuela, a nation run by this man, Hugo Chavez. With us now, former Congressman Joe Kennedy. He is the founder and chairman of Citizens Energy Corp. It's a nonprofit organization. Congressman, thank you for coming on.
Nice to be on with you this afternoon, Neil.
I know you and the congressman have exchanged some fairly to the point, I would even call them nasty letters. He says what you're doing is nothing more than being a PR prop for Hugo Chavez. I want to give you a chance to respond to that. What do you say?
Sure, of course. I mean, look, the Congressman Mack has all the sort of right he wants to call for an embargo or of Venezuelan oil. I just think that it's interesting that the one organization that he's chose to put in his gun sights is a little nonprofit that is helping some low-income people here in the kind of colder climes than certainly he's used to down in Florida to get very vulnerable people some badly needed heating aid. Heating aid, I might add, which he voted, Congressman Mack voted a 44% cut in the U.S. federal government's program to assist poor people this last year. So it has left poor people that need help with their heat in a very, very vulnerable position. And yes, we do provide help and assistance directly from Venezuela. But we're not the only organization that imports oil from Venezuela. Lots and lots of major oil companies do. U.S. Manufacturers, our largest car companies, Ford and GM, sold 300,000 or 400,000 cars in Venezuela last year.
Let me
ask
you.
A lot of commerce that goes back and forth.
That's very true. And I think, to be fair to the organization, it is a nonprofit. You have a long history of trying to help out poor people. You're true to your word. I think what troubles some people, Congressman, is that with the best of intentions, you're being duped by a dictator. What do you say?
You know, a lot of things happen to me in my life. I don't get duped by a lot of people. I understand exactly what Hugo Chavez has stood for. I have been very critical of the kind of personalized politics that have been a hallmark of the relationship between him and President Bush. I have been highly critical of President Bush's attempts to overthrow the Chavez government, despite the fact that Chavez government has been elected 3 separate times.
But let's stop there for a second, Congressman. As you know, Hugo Chavez has done a number of things. Neil, he's done a number of things that have lately concerned free democratic thinkers, and that is becoming more of a dictator over the last few weeks. So do you think, with the best of intentions again, you are part and parcel of a guy who hates this country and is maybe using you to score some PR points in this country?
Look, I think that that there's a lot of reasons to be critical of the policies of the Chavez government. I think there's a lot of reasons to be critical of the policies of the Bush government. What I'm suggesting is that you can't have it both ways. So you can't just say that one nonprofit that's helping the poor with cheap Venezuelan oil should stop taking that oil, but ExxonMobil or Shell or BP or Halliburton or the major banks and insurance companies and car companies, all of them should be able to continue to operate because they're making money. But the one organization that is a nonprofit, they should stop. And that's what's hypocritical about this whole circumstance. If we're going to do that, then we should say, let's stop importing all Venezuelan oil. That's 558 million barrels of oil a year. You won't be able to fly a jet plane. You won't be able to drive your car. You certainly won't be able to heat your home. And those are the kinds of, I mean, listen, if we want to do this, we can say we shouldn't import any oil from Saudi Arabia. After all, they had 15 of the 19 hijackers that killed 3,000 Americans.
Having said all of that,
sure.
Hugo Chavez has said of this country, it is in decay, America is. He said of capitalism, it is a vast relic, the heap of which Venezuelans will dance on. So now, say what you will, that doesn't sound like a friend of the United States.
Well, Neil, let's just deal with the largest avowed communist nation on this planet. That is Communist China. That's in the name of the country. The fact of the matter is that we bought from them almost $400 billion worth of goods last year. We don't care about that. That's not what's at work here. What's at work here is a cheap ploy to try to get some publicity. That's all this is
So you
about.
don't care where the oil is coming from? If, for example,
of course I do.
Let's say another guy, even meaner or nastier to the United States, provided Joe Kennedy with oil still cheaper than this, would you take it?
Well, you know, Neil, there are plenty of countries, believe me, that have offered Citizens Energy oil over the years. I mean, we've been doing this for almost 30 years.
Who have you rejected it from?
There's been plenty of countries, and I don't want to. I mean, listen, there are plenty. Libya, Iraq, Iran. There's been a number of them.
And you rejected all of them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, there is when countries are actually doing something that is tangibly in direct opposition to this country's national interests. Absolutely. But you can't tell me that is the case in Venezuela when the guy just did get elected with about 70% of the vote. Not to mention the fact that what we're saying, Neil, is if you want to conduct a embargo against Venezuela, then be straight up. Don't just go after the little nonprofit that has only me to fight back. But why don't you take on Exxon? Why don't you take on BP? Why don't you take on Halliburton? Halliburton, run by our vice president, I might add. When we were saying no to Iraq and Iran,
it's not run by our vice president now, Congressman. But listen,
but he was when he was running. No, Neil. He was when he was running that company, and he was expanding that company's interests into countries who were actively trying to hurt the people of this country.
Okay.
So that's where I'm saying, listen, let's just be fair about it. All we're trying to do is provide some badly needed aid to those families that need it.
All right, Congressman, we badly need to go to a commercial break, but it's always very good seeing you. Thank you for presenting your view.
Nice to talk with you, Neil.
We wanted to make sure we did that. Congressman Joe Kennedy.